All right.
Ready?
So sum up MAO in your experience for me. What happened?
On the prelims, I thought we were doing really well. I thought we were playing the paintball that we needed to play to win the 3 events in a row. I thought everyone was, playing the spots they needed to per se, and I felt like we needed to improve, on what we were doing, but we went backwards, which is sad, And I don't think there's one person to blame per se, but I think the players should speak up to the coaches and the management and stuff. But I think we made a lot of elementary mistakes, really stupid mistakes on Sunday, like mistakes that lost us the tournament. Not to take anything from Heat, good guys. I don't know a lot of them, but they're not a bad team. But we're better than them. That's just the honest truth. They can take that to heart or they can get offended by it. But that's just my opinion.
Who's better than Damage?
I played on a lot of paintball teams, and this is not, I don't really sugarcoat things or BS or anything. I feel like if Damage plays to its potential, I don't think I've ever seen a team better than this. And that's easily put, easily said, and not a hesitation in my voice.
You own a paintball field with your family out in California. You do a lot in the industry in paintball. You're fairly well known. What would you do you think it's just because you're a nice guy or because you're a good player that you have all these fans?
I think some people just get lucky, and they probably have a little bit of following. I think one thing I have going for me is, I'm a fairly big guy. I'm almost 6'4", and I'm a pretty, I don't know what I'm tits of scales at these days. Probably 240, 250. 280. Maybe 280, I don't know. Who knows? There's not a scale in front of me, I'd get on it. I think that has a lot to do with it. I think I'm like the working Joe in paintball. I'm the working man. I'm the guy that, goes out there and just plays and, kind of like I would say that's my appeal, or that's the people's appeal to me, is I'm like just an everyday guy.
Would you say that you're the best Indian paintball player in the world?
I haven't been to India yet, but there was one kid that was really good at my field, and I chased him away because he was going after my crown. So yes, I am right now technically the best Indian professional or Indian paintball player out on the planet. Right
if
now.
You could change one thing on Damage, what would it be?
I feel like the team's really negative. That's the problem with this team. If we have one mistake, it turns into the biggest end-all, be-all. Everyone just looks at hidden things, and it's so bad. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake. You just figure out the mistake and you move on. But everyone it's like a scab. You pick, and then it just starts pouring blood, and then we go, fuck, we made it worse. We just went backwards. And I feel like the minute everyone realizes that is the minute we'll start winning every event again.
Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years? There's a lot of rumors going around saying you're going to retire at the end of the year. Any truth in any of this stuff? I mean, we know you say it, but
I feel like I could leave the game tonight, tomorrow, and I'd be happy. My next thing in paintball is I just want to really grow paintball in my area in Northern California. I want to give the kids the opportunity that support my family's business, support me, the opportunities that I had as a paintball player. With sponsorships, tournaments, advice, whatnot. I'd love to coach a high caliber team eventually. When will that happen? I don't know. If I'm even a good fit or a good coach, who knows? Because it's easy to say you could do it, but you don't know until you get into it.
All right, that was a really good answer of not answering the question. So, are you planning on retiring at the end of this year, or are you going to continue to play paintball?
It's getting to the end, yeah. So I don't know. If it's not this year, it'll probably be next year. But yeah,
you realize you do have a 2-year deal with Damage. If you try to back out of it, we will see.
Yeah, but what I get disappointed about, and this is nothing. This is just my personal feelings and stuff, and it's nothing against anybody on this team. But what upsets me more than anything when good talent goes to waste. And that's more upsetting than anything else. And it's not like I get angry or anything. I just get frustrated. and then it makes me give it makes me become, I want to say, mean per se, and I don't try to come across that. I try to be positive in life, but when I see guys and when I see my teammates that I do really appreciate and get along with, and I think of like a extended family making mistakes, it just frustrates me, and it kind of makes everything it kind of ruins the whole thing to me, and that's kind of tough right now in paintball, and it's getting better. It really is, but it's like it got better and it gets worse. It gets better, it gets worse, and it's just kind of like a wishy-washy thing.
If you could pick one player from any team in paintball not on Damage to play on Damage, who would it be?
I would get someone really humble with just a good attitude.
Okay.
And that would be...
I need a name.
I would say someone like a Glenn Takamoto or a Steven Pitts, someone that could play a lot of spots. That could be, just a guy that's just going to be, a teammate. Not we don't need another quote-unquote leader. We don't need another hothead. We don't need... Now, I'm not saying anybody on our team is there. We have a lot of A personalities on this team, so we need a mellow person on this team.
So Damage is arguably, if not the best team in the world, one of the best teams in the world. In your opinion, why is Damage having so much difficulty making that final jump on the Sunday? Do you think it's just because of the stuff you were talking about earlier with the scab and the picking at it type stuff, or is there something more to it?
I think there's a lot to do with that. I think when we have 9 paintball players or 10 paintball players, people are gonna have off days. It's just the way it is. And then when it comes down to Sunday, you need to have your best 6 or 7 guys in the rotation, and that's what you need to stick with. And we have never ever done that except 1 or 2 events. And the whole 2-line thing, sure, if everyone's firing on all cylinders, that's fine. But if we I think we need to be quick on the adjustment, like, hey, this guy's dying, let's go to this mix line. Of course, I gave my simple opinions, like, I think, me and Jason kind of play the same spots, but, he's definitely faster, and, he could fill some more spots than me. And I kind of gave my opinion, like, hey, let's put us back together, together, because that's a really smart, solid line that's I feel like it's gonna win majority of the points, just because we're gonna have big voices. We're gonna but that's kind of the suggestions I would have is, kind of make a mix squad per se. That would be a big thing. And then not the scab, of course, that's gonna slow you down. But I just feel like everyone's really proud on our team. That's a good thing. But if you're not playing well and you get sad a little bit, you just got to be the ultimate teammate. Like, you know what? I sat out Chicago. I got hurt before the event, but I told myself a lot. Like, I was like, man, I'm just gonna be positive in the pits. I'm not gonna say anything negative. I'm just gonna be literally like Pickle. Pickle's fucking a great guy. He's in there helping us out. He takes shit to a certain extent because we get upset, we get yelled. I mean, no one says anything, Pickle, but at the end of the way, it was like, Pickle, we need this, we need that. He's all over the place. I just try to go in there, help the team out as much as I can, and that's kind of what I feel like we need to have a little bit more. My opinion.
Explain Dave Mount's guys.
Well, I mean that's not what it stands for, but yes.
What is DMG?
It's me and my best friend Brian Duffy and my brother. We made this clothing company, and we're in the process of getting all the trademarks and everything else, which are approved as of literally a couple days ago. So it's just a clothing company, and we sponsor Damage, and we sponsor the SAC Damage, and we sponsor 2 teams that play in the NPBL series also.
You also sponsor a media company.
We do.
I hear about that.
Yeah, tough.